So after the video I did on Woodturner Pro, I had a number of requests that I show Lamination Pro. And I have time to do that because I recently injured my ankle. I saw the doctor last Friday after the ice storm went away. And she said, no, you're not going to stand on it for at least another 3 weeks. So it's going to be at least that long for sure. So I have time to do this and I enjoy doing it. So let's go ahead and look at Lamination Pro. This is what it looks like when you open it up and you go continue. It shows this is where you pick what the lamination is going to look like. And you laminate a board up, you cut it at different angles, you glue it back together, and you get a feature ring. So that's what we're doing. By default it comes in at 5. And I'm going to change it to 3. I'll come back later and maybe I'll give you a glimpse of what it looks like with 5 pieces. But well, while we're here, one thing you want to do is on a chevron which we're making, I would make the top board and the bottom board the same. So this little box says symmetric. It makes everything symmetrical about that center piece right there. And it gives you the size of the boards here. You have a 1 inch, an 1/8 inch, a 1/4, and back to an 1/8 and back to 1 because it's symmetrical. We're going to do 3. And I have, let's see, ash, and I don't know what that wood is. I've never heard of it. I'll just say it's kind of a reddish wood. So we have the ash on both sides because it's symmetrical. I'll go ahead and hit continue. And now that's the board. It's we assumed we glued that up, and we'll get the information on how long to make that pretty soon. But repeating units, I'm using 12 segments. That's how many times it's going to repeat. I have already drawn up something simple that you can make a feature ring for. And you're not limited to doing this. I picked this size on purpose to make it easy. I created it so the segment length is 2 inches. I did that by changing the bowl to 7.45 inch diameter with 12 segments. And I can show you how to make that adjustment. Maybe we'll do that towards the end of this. But I'm needing to have a piece that fits the 2 inch this way and 2 inches that way. I know that doesn't look even, but that's what it says it is, so I'm going to take its word for it. I'm going to go back to Lamination Pro. And in order to fill a 2 inch gap, I would need 2 boards 1 inch wide. This is telling me that it comes as default a 1/2 inch. I'm going to change that to 1. And now 1 and 1 is going to be 2. So first generation looks like this. And this is a 30-degree cut. If you want to change what that cut is, you can do it. You can grab it, or you can type in that box, or you can click it like this. Everything is default at that. Later on, if you get used to this, you can do whatever you want. So generation 1, that's our chevron, and I want to shift that over there. It's 2 inches across here, and it comes 5 inches tall as default. We need to fill a 2 inch opening. I can just highlight that and type 2. I can arrow it down. We're just going to type 2. And now that box fits inside of there. It showed me that that board was 3.31 from this tip down to there. So we're trimming it off like this so we can make a segment out of it. Repeating units are 2 inches, and it shows that, and just keeps showing them all the way down here. That is what the board looks like after it's cut. And it's stacked this way in case you want to go to generation 2. And a little hard to understand why it looks like it's glued together as 1. Well, if you want to make the next generation, you need to glue all those pieces together like this. We're not going to go into the next generation until you can understand what this is and make one. It's really not that hard when you do the second generation, but I don't want to confuse what we're doing here by adding that. So I needed, it says 29.69 inches to make that strip with 12 segments. And you can see how that changes as I go like this. So that is an important thing to have in there to make sure you glue up enough board. It gives 20% allowance, it makes it 35. It all depends how you cut your strips. I don't necessarily make it that long, but that would be safely give you all the stock you need. So what do we do now to get it into Woodturner Pro? First thing I want to do is remind myself that this has to be highlighted. If this is highlighted, this feature ring will go in there and it's not going to look very good. So make sure that's highlighted. You're going to go back to Lamination Pro, and over here you can export an image. That's into Segment Pro. We're not going to do that today. It's a total different piece of software, but we're using Woodturner Pro. I'm going to click on that. That box down below will highlight. That's the icon for Woodturner Pro, and when I click on that, I need to give this a name. I'm going to call it 1, even though you might want to call it feature ring or whatever. I'm just going to do 1 because I won't be saving this. It tells me it's 2 inches wide. It tells me it's 2 inches tall. It has a little box here, stretch to fit. If for some reason these segments are not the same size as what your Lamination Pro says, you can stretch it to fit for looks, but by all means do not cut it if this doesn't match. Don't cut it to these sizes. You want to use the 2 inch here when you put an angle on that to make that feature ring. It wouldn't matter so much on a shape like this on the chevron, but when you go into the next generation, I think it would mess the design up. So make sure you use the dimensions here for cutting the angle on these to make a segment out of it. So back over here to Woodturner Pro, this is highlighted. I put number 1 on there. Do I want to keep the instructions? Yes, I do. So there's your chevron right there, and here's your instructions. Tells you what to do, what we already went over. You got a 1 inch piece of ash and another one with a wood I've never heard of and another ash. Cut the laminated boards 1 inch wide at 30 degrees, flip it over, and you can glue them together. You now have everything you need for a feature ring except for putting an angle on the side and turning it into a segment. Or if you're ready for generation 2, then you glue that whole stack back together. We're not going to get into that though. And the repeating unit is 2 inches. I told you how tall the board was when we cut them at 1 inch strips, and that's that unit again, 2 inches, and how much wood you need to make it. So that is pretty much it. Now let's go over what it would look like if you wanted 18 segments on this same thing. I'm going to show you how easy the software is to change on the fly. Maybe I decided I wanted 18 segments in this row, or if you started with them you would do it the same way, but I'm going to change this to 18. I'm looking down here in the edge length for the segments. It's 1.31. That means in Lamination Pro right now I have a 2 inch, and we want that to be 1.31 so we can have 18 segments. I'm going to change this to 18, and that just helps you with the length of the board, what you need. So 1 inch is certainly not going to work, so we're going to change that. And I already kind of know where it is, but I'll just show you how easy it is to get there. 1.25. Now that might be too small. And how about 3/4? That's too big. Okay, what if we said 21/32? That's it. It's 1.31 exactly. So we can export that, and I'm going to shift this so you can see there's the 1.31 this way, and it's still at 2 inches. I'm going to export that just the way we did before. This is highlighted, and I do need to give it a name, and I'm going to name it 1 again. Shows me it's 1.31. It's 2 inches high. Let's have a look at it. Do you want the instructions? Yes. Okay, now we have a feature ring that has 18 repeating segments going around it. You can change it to any number you want. What you have to do is try to get it to fit into the edge length of this segment. If it doesn't fit, use whatever this shows and glue them together and check the diameter. If it's bigger and it's only a little bit bigger, you're going to turn that away anyways. So that's another way to get there. How about we have a look at what this looks like if it's got more laminations in it. We'll just go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go to the 5 right there. There's 5 of them. Now that's what it looks like here. Let's go ahead and export that into Woodturner Pro. And again, I'm going to give it the same name because I don't want to stack a bunch of them up. And say OK. And yeah, we'll save that. So that's what it looks like with 5 different pieces of wood glued together, 18 segments. Not that hard. Start out with just three pieces laminated together. Start out with maybe 12 segments, might be easier. And do remember to use the dimension that it gives you over here in Lamination Pro for cutting the angle on the sides of the pieces. So that's about it for this week. I sure hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next time, I'll see you later.